Hello, my name is Brian, and I'm a writer. I have over 25 books published on Amazon. They're available in Kindle format and in paperback. My latest release is called Brother Phillip. It's a modern day Gothic horror story about a young priest who encounters a demon. I'm not going to give it all away at once because I'm going to read it one chapter at a time. I'll leave a link below to find the book on Amazon. Then you can download it on your own. And if you do, please leave a review. Chapter 1. Brother Phillip. On Thursday, Philip Carson was feeling particularly nervous. He had an appointment to meet with Father O'Brien, the seminary school's formation advisor. He was in his final year, and by summertime he would be ordained. He could barely believe that he was almost there. He walked to Father O'Brien's office and knocked. "Enter," a voice called out. He pushed the door open and walked in, trying not to let his nervousness show. "Good morning, Brother Philip," the father said pleasantly. "Please, come in and sit." Philip bowed his head slightly and kept his eyes on the floor as he shuffled to a chair. He sat facing the advisor but could not bring himself to look the man in the eye. He focused on the large desk between them. O'Brien saw the innate shyness in the young man and frowned. Perhaps he's not ready for ordainment yet, he thought. His inability to make eye contact is concerning. "How are you feeling today?" the father said out loud. Philip nodded and looked into the priest's eyes for the first time. "I'm good," he mumbled. With an obvious effort, he focused on the advisor's face and did not look away. "Do you know why you were summoned here?" "No, Father." "I don't know if you're aware of our placement program. We select a dozen or so students from our graduating class each year and assign them to charity programs, parishes, and other organizations within the church." "Really?" Philip asked nervously. "Yes. We use it to verify the student's aptitude, and it's also a measure of what you can expect after graduation. It gives you the opportunity to assess whether you've chosen the right vocation." "Oh," Philip said with sudden panic. "Are you saying that I didn't?" "Not at all, my son," O'Brien said quickly, though he had privately thought that very thing. "I'm saying that this is your chance to practice all those things you've been learning." "Oh, okay," Philip said, and blushed bright red. Father O'Brien frowned inwardly. He was troubled by the boy's lack of confidence, but he kept his face neutral. "You're being assigned to a small parish near Peterborough. Do you know Peterborough?" "Not really." "It's a small town on the way to Ottawa. The parish you're going to is close to a village called Hunter's Creek, about 20 miles north of Peterborough. The church serves 3 or 4 settlements in the area, including a trailer park. But the priest who ministers there is getting on in years. He needs some help with the maintenance of the chapel and with some of the administration. His eyesight is poor and is recently getting worse." "I see," Philip said uncertainly. He bit his lip while his mind raced. He was being sent to some place in the middle of nowhere. Did that mean he was being cast aside? Was he being thrown away like an unwanted candy wrapper? "Do you understand?" O'Brien asked. "Yes, I think so." The father could tell that Philip did not understand at all. "Good," he said. "You will report to Father Jacob at St. John's Chapel in Hunter's Creek. Monday morning at 9 o'clock. Yes, Father. Philip rose from his chair and Father O'Brien extended his hand. Philip shook it without looking into the man's face. Then he walked out of the office feeling dejected and useless. Stephen Conrad, Philip's roommate for the last 2 years, looked up from his cot when Philip walked in. Stephen immediately frowned at Philip's expression. He looked like someone who had just lost his last friend. "Hey, what's up?" he asked. Philip sighed and sat heavily on his own cot. He looked across at his friend and shook his head. He shrugged and held his arms out at his sides. Then he looked down at the floor and put his head in his hands. "I think I'm done," he said. "Done? What do you mean, done?" "I think they're getting rid of me." "They expelled you?" "No, they assigned me to a parish." "A parish?" Stephen said in surprise. "That's amazing. I wish they'd assign me to a parish. I'm being sent to a charity office somewhere downtown. I'll be answering phones and recording donations." "That sounds pretty awesome," Philip grumbled. "Are you kidding me?" Stephen replied. "I could have done that working for a cable company. I didn't learn about the priesthood so I can work at a call center. They're sending you to a parish, and that's awesome." "Yeah, but this parish is in the middle of nowhere. It's almost 3 hours from Toronto." "What's 3 hours away from Toronto? There's nothing out there. Nothing but trees and inbreds." Stephen chuckled and threw his pillow. It hit Philip in the face and he batted it away. "Stop it," Philip groused. "I'm feeling pretty lousy." "That's because you're a moron," Stephen said with a roll of his eyes. "They're giving you a gift and you can't even see it." "A gift in the middle of nowhere." "Stop bitching," Stephen snapped. "Everyone in the class would kill to get what they're handing to you, and you're not bright enough to see that." Philip stood up and stomped out into the corridor. Stephen scowled at his friend's ingratitude. What a goof. Philip was huffing and puffing with irritation. He had gone to his dorm to have a good sulk, and Stephen was far too cheerful for him to do that. He needed to find a place where he could moan about his fate in peace. On Sunday, Philip packed his belongings into his 5-year-old Toyota Tercel. He was feeling as grumpy and out of sorts as he had been since Thursday. It was afternoon and he was beginning his drive to Hunter's Creek. He expected to arrive somewhere around supper time. He looked his car over and sighed. It was a good car as long as you stuck to city streets. On rough roads, it felt like you were driving a horse and buggy. It shook and rattled, and every dip or pothole in the road just might kill the car off once and for all. "This sucks," he mumbled. He got into the car and started driving. When he passed Peterborough, he did not even see the town. The highway veered around it and dove into some lower ground. The hills to his right were too high for him to see even the tallest building in town. Not that there were any tall buildings there. Even the largest apartment complex was no more than 8 floors. Philip considered it a hick town and scowled as he remembered the photos of the place he had seen on the internet. He focused on the road and drove on. When he passed the sign that said Hunter's Creek, he looked around in confusion. The sign said it was here, but there was nothing there. Just trees, open fields, and the occasional farmhouse. "What in the name of God?" he grumbled. He looked down at his phone for the directions to where he was going. He scowled when he saw that there was no internet service. The map was blank and the no connection icon was flashing. That meant he was going to have to ask someone for directions. "Isn't that just great?" he said. He looked every which way and spotted what looked like a gas station with a small cafe. He pulled into the empty parking lot and went to the gas station. The door was locked and there was no one inside. He stepped to the cafe and found that door locked too. He looked around helplessly and wondered what to do next. "What you want?" the woman's voice asked. He turned and saw a small old lady with a walking stick in one hand. "What you want?" she repeated. "Good afternoon. I'm looking for St. John's Chapel. What you want to go there for?" The accent she spoke with was one he had not heard before. It sounded Irish, but not entirely. There were bits of Ottawa Valley and rural Ontario, too. It was an odd combination. "I'm Father Jacob's new assistant pastor." She looked him over and scowled. "Is that so? Can you tell me how to get there?" She pursed her lips and turned away. Then she began to go back the way she came. "Wait," he said. "Can you tell me how to get there?" She paused and looked back at him. "It's Sunday, you know," she said irritably. "I know," he said. "Do you know of any motels close by?" "Sure, go south. There's plenty of motels that way." "The last one I saw was 2 hours away." "I expect it is. There's nothing like that around here." "What about food? I haven't eaten since I left Toronto." "You didn't plan this very well, did you? You're out of luck." "What? Isn't this a diner?" "Aye, it is, but it's Sunday. No one works on Sunday. You should know that if you're a priest." "I'm not a priest yet. I'm in training." "Oh, aye. Well, here's your first lesson, boyo. No one works on Sunday."